Hello, everybody. Welcome back to section 8.8 of the chapter 8, talking about controlling simulation termination condition and run length of your simulation. So far, we just specify our runtime. If you look at here, the runtime for our simulation is 7.5 hours. It will cut off the simulation right after 7.5 hours, but you still have an applicant within your system. Okay, like we talk about in the in our restaurant example very early on in our semester, we want to be able to shut down the arrival. However, all the applicants within the system start moving out, then we shut down the system. Let's do that one more time. So what we have is for the scheduled arrival, we're not worried about that because this is only they stop their appointment after 3:30. However, this so-called time varied arrival, we need to shut down the arrival after 7.5 hours. Okay, so this is what we do. So after 7.5 hour after I shut down, and if I change this to so-called infinity, and so I will shut down the walk-ins after 7.5 hour, and scheduled arrival is empty, but the system will be empty. This simulation should stop. So let's see if that stops. Apparently it does not stop because we have all the so-called failures and interruptions and those type of future event preventing the simulations to be stopped. So we need to manually check the system condition and make it stop. Okay, so first we want to create a process. Okay, create a process. Again, we're going to create a generic process. We're going to call adding one decide block, determine what is the current system condition. So what is this system condition? This thing is this process, we'll call it time to stop. Okay, we're going to check if it's time to stop the simulation. And should be and this condition is, so to speak, and if the following condition, okay, currently if the simulation time is greater than or equals to 7.5 hours, and there's nobody in our system. Okay, so and sorry, it should be like that. All right, so entity, applicants, population, and number in system is less than or equals to 1. Then I'm going to stop the simulation. So what I have to do is call the end runs. And the simulation runs. When I'm going to execute this, actually, whenever a entity coming in here, I'm going to execute that. When the entity destroying, I'm going to run that generic process. Okay, time to stop. So I have 3 sync. Okay, so each one of them, every time they have an entity coming out of the sync, before they destroying the entity, they check this if it's possible. So let's see if we can run this real quick. Okay, the simulation stopped actually right around 4:36 and 50 seconds. So 57 seconds. So it does stop, and all the process are done, and still have one for during the data entry portion. So the system basically shut down. And now we're going to define a statistic saying when is the time actually output. So the 4:30, also it should be 4:36. It should be 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Actually, 6 minutes of overtime. We want to be able to collect that. So here we're going to adding an output process. Okay, the output process. And we're going to call this output process unit type is, we're going to call this output statistic. Output statistic. Overtime. Okay, I'm going to call it overtime. Actually is the time actually for the simulation runs stop. And actually this part is fairly easy. All we have to do is run .time now. Collect the last value of the simulation. Okay, minutes. And we can actually do it 7.5. So runtime now, given an hour, so minus 7.5. That's the overtime statistic we have. So this overtime recording the last value of the simulation before it stopped, minus 7.5 hour, and that will be our simulation, so-called overtime. The office closed after 4:30. So we can quickly run this. Go to result section. All right. So overtime is about 36 minutes after the simulation. Okay. So pretty much we have everything we need to talk about over here, and we can actually adding adding a new experiment. The model, okay, and then start running using, I'm going to add a response. Basically, this is time closed after hour. Okay, we can actually asking for this output statistic called overtime value. It's very important. For output statistic, you want to specify value, and then you can on for that. Okay, it gives you a response, and you can actually convert that into time in terms of minute. It'll give you 116 minutes is the average overtime in that place. So this pretty much summing up our 8.8. There's one catch after this. Let me talk about that a little bit. With this process of time to stop, actually you check this every time you have exit coming out. So on this condition, decide condition, one more time I will show you the decision condition, is checking only after 7.5 hours, which is 4 o'clock and after. So what if the system already empty before the 4 o'clock? What do we do? Okay, so here what we do is we're going to close the store even with at the 4 o'clock if nobody else is in there. So for that, we need to do another check at the 4 o'clock portion. I'm going to add a timer to close. Okay, so this timers to close is actually 7.5 hours, which is right on. Okay, right on the number. So right on the 4 o'clock, we're going to check that. And this will create an event. We're going to create a generic event, which is triggered by the time to close the event. All right. And also this things is trigger event condition. What we have over here. We're going to check the condition, either the entity applicant population, we've done this before. Okay, number in the system is equals to 0 already. Okay, and this run time now is greater than or equals to 7.5 hours. So if these two conditions satisfy, I will run this, okay, process. And the process is just and run. So I would do this right on 4 o'clock. If that's the case, no more applicants in the system, and the current time is after 4 o'clock, then we'll also stop the simulation. So this is a two possible way to check. So either you check every applicant leaving, because the applicant can all left already before 4 o'clock, and that's the situation we cannot stop the simulation. So if the last applicant left before the 4 o'clock, we have these safeguard timer actually right on the 4 o'clock. I will check the entire system. If no more applicant, we'll go ahead and shut down our simulation. This will conclude the 8.8 and the entire chapter A is a tutorial. I'm going to stop right here.